18-year-old Nolan Wells went out to celebrate the 4th of July with friends on Horn Island, a remote barrier island off the Mississippi coast. By that evening, his friends had returned home. Nolan had not.
New evidence has just come out in the Nolan Wells case that proves that he was murdered by those three men. There was a pool party that took place after the island, and you can see clearly in Evan's Instagram post, Nolan is there. Witnesses have put out statements saying that an altercation took place between Nolan, Evan, and two other boys, and the boys proceeded to beat Nolan to death with a metal bar and urinate on him. And all those people there watched and did nothing about it.
Before we go further, if true crime stories that dig into real unanswered questions matter to you, hit subscribe to 3 True Crime Stories and tap like right now, because this case only gets more complicated from here. Nolan was last seen around 3 in the afternoon, wearing blue swim trunks, laughing with friends on a boat-packed beach. Hours later, his mother received a call. By 11 that night, she reported him missing. What followed was days of searching, involving the Coast Guard, park rangers, and volunteer rescue teams combing the waters around that isolated shoreline. The explanation authorities gave was simple. Sheriff John Ledbetter said investigators were told Nolan chose to stay behind, planning to catch a ride back with someone else later. But that explanation began to unravel almost immediately. Attorney Ben Crump, representing the Wells family, revealed that a young woman who had been talking with Nolan on the island gave an account that directly contradicts what his friends told investigators. She said Nolan told her he was heading back to the boat to leave. His friends say the opposite, that he chose to stay with her. 2 accounts, 1 conversation. Only one version can be true.
There are a lot of posts saying that Katie is his girlfriend. That's not true. Many people that were there that day have stated that Katie and Nolan met on that day. They met on that day. Nolan came with his people. Katie came with her own people. They met because it was this huge party that was happening in the water. This is a comment on Facebook from Ashton. Ashton knows Katie personally. I'm going to let y'all pause and read. What Ashton is saying is that Katie is a genuine and sincere person, that she hasn't really played a part in this, did not meet him until that day. Ashton continued, if anything, everyone needs to be questioning the friends and definitely not Katie. I personally sense genuinity behind this comment. I looked at their page. They seem to actually know each other. This is another person who knows Katie personally. She said, I know Katie since she was in 4th grade, and her story is literally the only one that hasn't changed. Now, that line kind of sat with me. The only one that hasn't changed. So whose story changed? Then she asked, who was on the boat with her that can back her up and vouch that she was with them the whole time. Grace goes on and says that Katie has made a full statement to police and Nolan's mom, and he didn't see him physically get back on the boat, but she saw his friends telling him to get on the boat, but everybody was in the water. And I've seen videos, there was a lot of people. I'm sure she doesn't know the exact time, but what I do know is Katie's story is the only one who hasn't changed at all this time. She told the cops and the mom the same thing. So she reiterated the fact that her story hasn't changed. So whose story has changed?
On July 6th, 2 days after he vanished, Nolan's body was recovered from the water near the island. An autopsy followed, but a cause of death has not been made public. His family does not accept that this was simply an accidental drowning. This is only the beginning of what investigators and the family are still trying to piece together.
Do you think race might be a factor?
Like my wife said, I don't want to believe that, but it's just it's so many things have happened, and so many things have been swept under the rug. Like I said, Nolan didn't see color. He saw people for who they are.
If you want the full story as it unfolds, subscribe to 3 True Crime Stories, like this video, and stay with us for what comes next. This case has grown far beyond a local investigation. Colin Kaepernick is helping fund an independent autopsy. Tyler Perry is covering funeral costs. Filmmaker Spike Lee stood beside the family at a news conference in Harlem. A sitting member of Congress has called for transparency, and the NAACP has voiced its support. Christine Wansley says she's pushing through her grief because she needs to know she did everything possible for her son. If this case has you asking questions too, that's exactly why 3 True Crime Stories exists. Hit subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. Not everyone reads this case the same way. A CNN law enforcement analyst has offered a more measured take, saying the sheriff's early wording was likely clumsy rather than evidence of anything hidden. Mississippi's Department of Public Safety has defended the investigation's pace as normal for a complex case. Here's where things actually stand. The state autopsy was completed on July 7th, but no cause of death has been released. Toxicology results could take weeks. The independent autopsy remains pending too. Until real answers arrive, Nolan's parents aren't accusing anyone by name. They're simply asking the story to finally match the son they raised.